Welcome to a special midweek version of the Three Down Nation podcast. I'm John Hodge, joined now by new Toronto Argonauts head coach Mike Miller. And I say new, but Mike, it's not like you're new to the Toronto Argonauts. You've been there for 4 years. You've helped them win 2 Grey Cups. So in a way, you're the new head coach, but you're also a familiar face. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, John. And really, as a guy that and you and your team do a great job, I think, promoting our league and a steady source of information for the fans. So, really, thanks for all you guys do in promoting the CFL.
Well, hey, it's our pleasure. You guys do a great job winning Grey Cups, so the respect
Yeah,
is mutual.
some years.
Well,
Yeah,
I know 2025 was a down year, but there were some
yeah.
tough circumstances, which we'll get into. On a bit of a personal note, I know you're from Pittsburgh, obviously, but are you now in Toronto full time?
I am. I'm in Toronto. Yeah, and I'm from Pittsburgh. Like you said, my town is called Plumboro. It's the same town where Pat McAfee is from. You might have heard him say it. So we're obviously all very proud of him. And then I also have my residence in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So a big fan of the beach area down there too.
I wanted to ask you, you've become kind of a quarterback whisperer, which again, we'll get into a little bit more today, but you went to Clarion University, which for our listeners, our viewers, is a small school in your home state of
Right,
Pennsylvania. Did you
right.
play there? And if so, were you a quarterback?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I tell people I'm always going to be down the middle with you, John. So a nice thing for me to be able to hang my hat on was I tore my ACL in high school. Uh, but the truth is that, along with a gross lack of talent, prevented me from playing beyond high school. So I actually got into radio and TV there and had pursued a career in that medium. And then I had an opportunity. I was an intern with the Pittsburgh Penguins in their front office with public media relations and operations. And then from there, I had a chance to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a similar capacity and was there for 2 years. And then I went to the Indianapolis Colts in the same capacity. So it was there that I felt, I always say it was God. Believe me, my whole career is unique and definitely the result of, God's plan. But that's when I wanted to get into coaching and had the opportunity to go with former head coach of the Jets, Joe Walton, back in Robert Morris back in Pittsburgh. But yeah, so I mean, I've gone from running press releases, press conferences at the Super Bowl to holding the sticks at practice, driving players to get their physicals, and then have just scratched and clawed. But the nice thing about it for me is that I've found opportunities that were very big for me, but the part that was even more important, that I was around people that cared about me and cared about my career and gave me a chance. So obviously, I'm very grateful.
So what you're saying is, as a media guy, I could still be a head coach someday. I got a chance.
Anything's possible. I always say that we all start out the same at some point, where everyone that's doing whatever they're doing didn't know how to do it. They needed an opportunity. And I think if you can just show people that you're willing to work hard and that you can get along with people, that anything's possible. And then pray as much as you can and be ready to roll with the punches.
I think that's a great attitude. I love it. Did you sign a 3-year contract with Toronto for this head coaching job?
Yeah, 3-year deal. Yep.
Awesome. Congrats. And I
Yeah,
wanted to
thank you.
ask is, at your introductory press conference, you mentioned Bill Cowher. I know you spent 5 years with the Steelers. I'd imagine being with your hometown NFL team made it all the sweeter, getting that opportunity, but then also getting to work with a coach like Bill, someone you called a great mentor and has been a great mentor since then. I'm curious, what impact did
Absolutely.
he have on you getting this job, and if you had any communication in the lead up to it?
So Coach Cowher has had great impact on me, either directly or indirectly, my entire career. He gave me my first opportunity in professional football. Um, and I will say, John, one thing that people always say to you growing up is make sure you realize someone's always watching. And so when I worked as an intern in 94, 95, you worked hard. Like I said, you be yourself and try to treat people right. And I think that was something when I hooked back up with Coach and saw him. I think it was in '98, the off season, during the end of the season. He saw me and asked me what I was doing now. I told him I was at Robert Morris coaching running backs as a grad assistant. And he said, I might have something for you after the season. So that was a pivotal part. And then there are so many things. I'd be here all day of the things that I learned, that he taught me, that I witnessed, that I noticed. And the first thing that jumps off the page for me when I think about Coach was his consistency, his emphasis for accountability. And I'm telling you, John, you have never seen someone who embraced but almost ran to adversity. It was always next man up. Okay, how do we adjust? What's our answer? He looked to everybody that was with us. Everybody could give input, but we all knew at the end he was going to make the decision that he thought was best for us as a team moving forward. But the way Coach handles adversity, and there's the obvious things too. What he knows about the game, techniques, fundamentals across the board, strategy, time management. Hey, that's why he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best to ever do it. And I was very blessed to be with him and still call him a mentor and be able to reference him. And, and I enjoy his friendship to this day. So, just someone that's very important to me.
That's great. I wanted to ask you about, and you talked about this again a little bit in your introductory press conference, about what it is to manage quarterbacks. Because obviously you've had a ton of success with guys like McLeod Bethel-Thompson, Nick Arbuckle having career years under you, and of course you helping Chad become the MOP of the CFL and only his second year in the league. You talked about the importance of teaching quarterbacks to manage the game, which I think sometimes we look at the word management or game management as a bit of a dirty word, but obviously for you, that's led to a ton of success. So I'm curious, in your mind, what does it mean for a quarterback to manage a game, and why is it so critical?
Yeah, I think these are things that you just kind of, I guess, you get comfortable with as you go through your career, things that you noticed and observe. I think, unfortunately, the word manage, sometimes it's the media that I think sometimes can give that word a negative connotation. And not to be critical of that, but I think sometimes because look, it sure is exciting and impactful of the game, and we're looking for those explosion plays. But to me, something that's very important, something that was really driven home to me working with guys like Kurt Warner and our guys here. And that's the other thing too. You're very kind with what you said, but another part of that truth is that I've been blessed with some good players, the guys that have great skill set and are passion and have eagerness to want to get better. So that's always a big part of it, right? But to get back to managing, to me, it's all about decision making. It's about taking what the defense is willing to give you and letting those big plays come to you. But it's managing game situations. It's gathering information. A lot of times it's those bad plays that you don't make. I know that down and distance here, I understand what's on the scoreboard. I understand where I am at on the field. We really like to even push let's get a sense of what's going on in the game right now. Do we really need to move the chains right here? Because we feel that the real game within the game is the field position battle. And if you're winning that and you're putting that offense on a long field, if we're creating short fields, and we can do that with our defense, our special teams certainly play a big part in that. But then also, hey, I got to really force this tight window. Yeah, this is that point in the game right now that this is what it's going to call for. And then, as I said at the press conference, having an opportunity to work with a man that like Sam Weiss, who we talked about 97% ready, and the good ones are going to find that the rules will take you only so far. And in every game, there are going to be certain plays that are going to call for some thinking and some operating maybe outside the rule or stretching that rule, and that creates a 3% area that all the good ones have to be able to do. And hey, you just mentioned a bunch: Mac, Chad, Nick, and even Jarrett and Tucker Horn here and Max Duggan. I mean, I've been blessed to have some good quarterbacks here: Cam Dukes, Brian Scott, and then as we mentioned, having Kurt Warner in Arizona was big. And I think we always like to have that give and take. We want to talk, and I want to hear that exchange, and then that's kind of getting to be a part of how they're viewing things and still letting them take advantage of their physical abilities and those talents. And I think it's given us some good results. But again, I've been blessed with some really good players.
I wanted to ask because, again, Nick had a lot of success in 2025 while Chad was out. Do you view your quarterback starting job as a competition in 2026, or is Chad Kelly the unquestioned starter of the Toronto Argonauts?
Yeah, Chad's going to be healthy. We anticipate him being ready. Chad will come back into the season as our number one quarterback. But I always encourage healthy competition, and they all know that. It's always about what you did and how you performed in your next rep. That's what's important. I commented earlier that I'm easy to please, but I'm hard to satisfy. And we're always trying to push to get better. That's me every day. That's always about how we're going to respond from mistakes and good plays, and that'll be our coaching staff and the entire organization, really. But that's how we'll start, and we're all looking forward to it. But there's always healthy competition within that group. One other thing, John, I say is we always say we have a good starting point, and that's whether it's system. If players see something they think they can add to it or change it, if they've earned that, I'm going to listen. And we do that from every aspect of our operation. So I think that's how you get the best out of everyone involved.
I wanted to ask for your perspective on the injury. You touched on it. We obviously heard from RD through the year about him giving updates on Chad and whether or not he'd be able to play, what the timeline would be. From your perspective as someone who's really close with Chad, has been his position coach for a number of years, how close was he to playing in 2025, and what was your perspective on how the team managed that injury?
Well, I think all I really want to say about that is I think the team did a good job. I think Chad did a great job, and things take time. And, all we can say right now is that we anticipate him being ready to go at training camp. And let me tell you, nobody works harder than this guy. He does absolutely everything and above. Nothing's more important to him than being our quarterback and being the teammate and a leader for the Toronto Argonauts now and in 2026. Again, we're looking for guys with great passion, and that's in every facet of his game, and that is Chad Kelly.
I wanted to ask about Chad, the person, a little bit. In an interview you guys did on Tuesday together, Chad said that you're like a father to him, which I thought spoke volumes. But also, Chad, I think there are fans around the league every time we report on Chad who will say negative things. And, there was the suspension. Maybe they don't like some of his social media conduct. But as someone who knows Chad better than anybody, better than any fan, and clearly has a lot of trust in Chad, I would like to provide maybe some balance, or at least get your perspective on why maybe fans should like Chad or should respect Chad, rather than seeing him as maybe the CFL's problem child, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into any of those previous things. All I can tell you is this kid is very invested. He's a pro's pro. But I can tell you, and I've always learned, we understand getting into this business, fans, and they have the right to feel and think however they want. We love the passion. We love their investment. And ultimately, this game is about the fan. But I can tell you, and I've always taken the approach that until I know the person, until until I've had a conversation, until I have a chance to really meet him and understand what this person's about, I really try to withhold any judgment and things like that. I can tell you from my standpoint, he's been fantastic. We have an excellent relationship, and I can say I love him, but we also have we know work has to come first, and business has to come first, and sometimes we have to have tough conversations, and we have had those in the past, and we'll have them in the future. But they always understand the bottom line is that it's always got to be about business first. But that also, John, has to go with something that I always talk about, that I believe our players need to be able to answer yes to three questions. And that is, do we care about them? Can we make them better? And can they trust us? And they can come at me with a tough question, but they got to be ready for a tough answer. And I think they know that, and it's served us well in the past. But you won't ever find a guy that loves this game more, loves his teammates more, and really loves this city. He loves being a part of Toronto, and he loves this league. So, yeah, we're all about moving forward. But believe me, this is a guy you can get behind. This is a human being that you would enjoy being around, and you would love to get to know. And it's my pleasure to be able to work with him.
I wanted to ask, and I know it's only been a couple of days since your introductory press conference, but you talked about putting together your coaching staff, right, your assistants, and you're in a bit of a unique spot because you were an assistant for many years. I'm sure you've built relationships with a lot of people on staff, whereas, in a more traditional hire, a coach would maybe not have any familiarity with their assistants. Have you made any progress in setting your roster, so to speak, with the rest of your coaching staff?
Nothing I'm ready to talk about. We continue to have meetings, and that's all I can really say about that. We do have good people here. We have to try to find the right mix and how this all fits together. But yeah, that's about all I can say about that right now. We are going through that process, and I hope to continue to travel through that as quick as possible.
Right on. Well, I thank you very much for your time, Mike. I really do. As an aside, you mentioned it off the top before we started recording. There's multiple coaches in the CFL named Mike Miller. Is there any way that you would like to be differentiated from Winnipeg Mike Miller? After all, you did reportedly interview with the Bombers. I don't know if that came up, how you two might potentially be differentiated from each other if you worked in the same building. Any thought on that?
You know what? I actually have had the pleasure of meeting the Mike Miller over in Winnipeg, and he seems to me to be a heck of a guy. I've enjoyed our conversations, and there's another guy. There's so many good people up here in this league. He certainly does a great job out there, and I enjoyed that process with Mike O'Shea in Winnipeg. They are a model organization in our league, and someone. For me as a coach, but really also as an organization that you're going to try to chase that model. I mean, these guys have 5 straight Grey Cups, still made the playoffs last year, and we're dealing with a ton of injuries. So nothing but great respect for them. And Mike Miller on the other side, I had joked that, well, I would give the first call to Mike. He has senior residency there, and a lot of people just call me Miller anyway. So, that would have been fine, but nothing but great respect for those guys over in Winnipeg.
Right on. I know that the Argonauts actually a few years ago had 2 Jordan Williams on the roster. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I think they defaulted to a middle initial. Maybe that would have been the case in the coaching staff,
yeah.
but regardless, I appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the promotion, and we look forward to seeing what you do as the new head coach of the Toronto Argonauts.
All right, John. Hey, thanks again for having me. Again, thanks for all that you guys do out there at 3 Down Nation. And yeah, let's go Argos.